Yes, and a very good evening to you, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Welcome back. This is Boys Arena YouTube channel where we bring you interesting sports analysis. And today we are going to be having the Match Week 31 Premier League review. My name is Ian Kemani. I'll be your host today. And with me, I'm privileged to have one of the great Manchester City fans. I know they had a very disappointing weekend. I'll give you a minute or two to introduce yourself, maybe, and tell us how your weekend was.
So thank you so much, Ian, for this opportunity. My name is Osano Frederick. I know most of you know me, but today I'm not here as a host. I'm here to look out the English Premier League match week that one was, just to dig in match and to know how all the games went. And my weekend was fantastic. A little bit, although the Premier League disappointed us. We waited for the derby that much, but we didn't even so even the goals that we expected. So, but it was a little bit fantastic, I can say like that.
It is called football, but we'll get to that game. And as we begin, we start with the first match, which was played on Saturday, Everton against Arsenal, where we saw Arsenal being getting to get just a point from Everton. I think this will affect their title race, considering that now Liverpool is at least 11 or 12 points clear from them. Maybe you can give us your review on the game.
I watched that game. I watched very quite minutes of that game, and what I can say is that Arsenal, we expected that result because I looked into the previous matches, meetings between Everton and Arsenal at the Goodison Park, and I saw that Arsenal have been having a very bad run while playing at Goodison Park, and so we expected that result. Although I know also Mikel Arteta had in mind that on Tuesday is playing in the Champions League, so I think that is what made Arsenal to get a draw. Yeah.
And moving on to the next game, which was West Ham against Bournemouth, is another game that we got results that we never expected, but at least we saw Bournemouth come back and they were able to grab a point against West Ham.
That one also is another was another interesting match because Bournemouth went goal down and then later came on and equalized, and then they went ahead and won the match. So I think that one was a very interesting match. Although we expected that result because when you look at Bournemouth also, they have been showing some very good game in their recent matches in the Premier League, and I think that results they deserved that win.
Okay, and moving on to the next game, which was Ipswich against Wolves. We saw Ipswich trail to Wolves at a scoreline of 1-2.
That one also was another good match. Although now when you look at the gap now between Ipswich and the Wolves now, I think Wolves managed to win and extended that gap between them and the relegation. Yeah. So I think it was a very crucial game for them to in order to escape that relegation and also those teams down there in the relegation battle. So I think it was very good for them. They deserved that win because Wolves also, although they have not been showing the Wolves we know in the recent seasons, but I think they showed some very good football, and they deserved to win that game. And for now, I think now they will be very comfortable. I think now they are sure that they're not going to be relegated come the end of the season.
Yeah, I think it was a very good game for Wolves. We have seen them do well quite in the previous matches. And moving on to the next game, which was, we can say, interesting, which we saw 3 red cards in this game, which is something very surprising to see. Crystal Palace against Brighton, where Crystal Palace ended up winning 2-1.
Yes, that one also, as you said, it was very interesting because we witnessed 3 red cards. I think 2 red cards on the side of Crystal Palace and one was on the side of Brighton. Yeah. But I think Brighton having gotten having this their centre forward, the Jean-Philippe Mateta back on the squad. Yeah. I think it gave them that momentum and that fighting spirit to fight until the end and to come back stronger and win that game despite having gone down 2 men down. So I think it was very interesting to watch them, and I think Crystal Palace are very good at now. I think they'll be showing us some very good football in this remaining fixtures.
And moving on to the last game of Saturday, Aston Villa against Nottingham. I think we have seen Aston Villa have a very good line of games, and despite that, Nottingham Forest is also fighting for a spot in the next season's Champions League, and we saw that they went ahead to drop points here. I don't know if you have anything to say about Nottingham against Aston Villa.
Speaking about Nottingham against Nottingham Forest against Aston Villa, I personally expected a very tough match because when you look at both teams, they have been playing very good. They have been beating big teams, and I expected at least a draw. But it was very surprising that Aston Villa came up and beat them. But I think now it is very interesting, and I think they are giving us pressures now. Teams like us and even the likes of Chelsea, because now the top 4 race, I think now it's becoming more tighter with 7 games remaining. So I think they must be looked well these remaining matches.
Yes. Yes, and now moving on to Sunday's game, which the first game, early kickoff was Brentford against Chelsea, where we as Chelsea fans were very disappointed because this is a game where we were guaranteed 3 points, but we saw the coach go ahead and fumble with the starting squad, and that's where I think Chelsea is missing the points. So Brentford against Chelsea 0-0.
So Brentford are playing against Chelsea. That one also is another match. I think we've said Enzo Maresca fumbled with the squad, but I think also on my side, I think Brentford also have been very good this season. They have been having some very good results, and I think they showed that they displayed that while playing against Chelsea. Although I will agree with you, as you've said, that Enzo Maresca fumbled with the squad, because when you look at the starting lineup, we didn't have even Cole Palmer. When you look at Jackson, didn't even start the likes of Cucurella, and they were on the bench. So I think that one also is another thing that costed them a lot, and I think you'll have to look at the remaining matches and do something, because as I have said in their last match, I think now the top 4 race is becoming more tighter, and that one now is we'll want to see how these coaches are playing their games now, and their cards and everything, and to see if they take their teams to the top 4 or not.
Yes, and moving on to the next game, which I think was a surprise to many of us, and also was made Arsenal fans get at least hopes of continuing the title race. Fulham against Liverpool, where we saw Fulham beat Liverpool 3-2.
So now that one also is it was a big surprise for us and for a lot of fans, because I expected now that Arsenal drew in their last match on Saturday against Everton. I expected Liverpool to come back and win this game, because now they were only remaining with leads, I think 2 or 3 games after that game of yesterday, and they would have been crowned champions of the EPL. But now that having that on mind, I think Fulham also displayed a very good form, and I think that one I attribute because Liverpool also had been on 27 games unbeaten, and I think that they have also been playing in the Champions League. I think that one also costed them, because going all those games without having even a lose or dropping points, I think that one also must be attributed to, and I think that is the reason as to why they were able to drop points. But now this also on the other side will not give Arsenal hopes of clinching the title, because when you look at the title race for now, Liverpool are ahead of them with 11 points, and we only have 7 games to go. And Arsenal are still in the Champions League, so I think the title race they should have that hope. Let's just wait for next season.
So you are saying the title is already gone with Liverpool?
For now, I can see, because they have also not met for the second leg. I think if Arsenal would have won their match against Everton, and then the results came as they came yesterday, I think we would have said that the title race is still on. But now that also Arsenal fumbled and drew, so I am not seeing if it is still on.
As moving on to the next game, Tottenham Hotspur against Southampton, which has already been relegated in the Premier League, 3-1.
So now that one has no debate, because we expected that results. Southampton have been very bad. They have been very bad this season. They have conceded 75 goals in total, and they have only clinched 10 points in 31 matches that they have played. So I think that one was a very bad of them, and we expected that result. We expected Tottenham to come and win against them. So I think that one has no any debate.
Yes, and moving on now to the big game of the match week, Manchester United against Manchester City. I think it was a derby, and I remember when we were here last time giving our prediction, you said that Manchester United only wakes up when playing with big teams, and it's a behavior that you don't like. I think now you really saw that it wake up against big team, but it was a disappointment from Manchester City, considering this is the toughest season Manchester United has had, and Man City were not in a position to even score even one goal against Manchester United.
I will know. I'm disagreeing with you when you say that we played against. I say that it's a very bad decision.
Yeah.
Forgetting that also even Manchester City will not have been that good. So I think that match the match both teams had a lot of chances, but I think the team that had higher chances of winning the game was Manchester United, because when you compare, for example, let's look at the first half. They got the chances, although they were disappointing there at the finishing. They lacked that striker instinct and clear instinct, so I think that one costed them a lot. On the other side of Manchester City, I think there were we had a lot of chances. Kevin De Bruyne got some shots, but I think they were very weak. On the other side also, I think Phil Foden was on the game, but not that much. So I think it was a very disappointing after the 90 minutes, because we expected some goals, but now that is football, and we have to accept.
Even though you are saying that you are disagreeing with me that Manchester United are having a very bad run, you can see that they are position 13 right now, I think, with 34 points, I think so, if I'm not wrong, or 31. Then Man City are at top 5. So clearly you can see that Manchester United are in their worst season, yet you are not in a position to get the 3 points from Old Trafford.
No, both teams, I can say both teams have been having. For example, when you look at Manchester City, we didn't have even Erling Haaland in the squad. Erling Haaland was not in the squad. When you look at the back four, a lot of players like Nathan Ake was not there. So I think I'll have to disagree with you again.
So without Haaland, Man City can't play a good game.
No, I'm not saying like that. But let us just move on to another to the next match.
You just concede defeat and accept that Manchester United dominated you in the game. So we have come to the end of the matches that were played, and I would just like to ask you some questions, considering the fact that there is a possibility that the Premier League side will get 5 slots in the Champions League coming next season. Which of the teams do you see that they will manage to get the 5 slots?
The 5 slots.
Yeah.
First of all, I think position 1 up to position 3 is already taken, because we have there in the position 1 automatically is Liverpool.
Yeah.
Then we have Arsenal at position 2, and then lastly we have the Nottingham Forest. I think Nottingham Forest will take on the position 3. Yeah. So I think the remaining 2 slots, I think we have several teams, because when you look at the points that is separating between position 4 and I think position 7 is like 2 points. So I think there in position 4 and 5, I'm seeing either between Chelsea, Manchester City, and also the likes of. Let us not also forget the likes of Aston Villa, and we also have Newcastle United, because they have a game in hand and they are playing tonight. So I think it's a bit tight. But let us wait for and we have although we have some a total of 7 games remaining. I'm seeing Manchester City and Chelsea at far, because Chelsea also they have been dropping points in games that they are supposed to win. So I think it will be a very challenging for them, but I think they will remain focused, because for now when you look at Chelsea, I think all players are back. They're starting 11, so I think that is my top 4.
Top 4 with Man City at position.
Man City at position 4, and then position 5 it is either Chelsea, Aston Villa, or Newcastle United.
We shall be here at the end of the season, to see you if your predictions come to sense. And that's all we had in stock for you for today's match week review. Thank you for always buying your bundles and creating time to watch our content. We don't take it for granted. Continue liking, sharing, and subscribing. And tell a friend to come and subscribe. I've been your host, Ian Kimani. Till next time, it's a bye from the Boys Arena.